What's up, YouTube? It's been a long time since I created a video, but I'm back with another. So let's get right into it. Today I'm going to discuss everything you need to know about sponge filters, from the benefits, issues with it, how I recommend using it, and when to use it. So let's just discuss right now how it works, the physics, the science behind it. It's actually a very simple yet ingenious design. So as you can see, it's called a sponge filter, obviously, because this is a big sponge. Now, the way this works is it has this air stone connected to tubing at the center of the sponge. There's an opening in the middle of this. Now, you attach the end of the tubing to an air pump, and it forces air to go inside the middle of the sponge. Now, the air does not come out of the side of the sponge, rather it just goes straight up, as you would expect. And by doing this, it creates a vacuum, forcing the water to fill in the space that it took up in the first place. And by doing that, the water is forced to go through the sponge and then up. The sponge will obviously take out all the waste and all the other stuff that goes through the sponge. So that's a little bit how it works. On the bottom, there's a weight so it doesn't float because the air can fill up the sponge. So it's a very simple idea, but it's very effective. Now, some of the benefits of sponge filters over other filters. First of all, it's good at mechanical filtration, meaning it takes the stuff literally out of the water, like the floating waste that will get stuck on the outside. It's good at biological filtration. This is its strongest asset. Biological filtration is the beneficial bacteria that will grow inside of the sponge. This has so much surface area on the inside that it is very effective at growing the bacteria. And this bacteria will help convert nitrates and ammonia and stuff to things that are less harmful for the fish. So it's very helpful to have biological filtration, and this is the best way to do so, in my opinion. Another great benefit of sponge filters is that it's very cheap to buy. I got this thing, which is big enough for perhaps a 60-gallon tank for about $5, and this thing, a little bit smaller design for a smaller tank, for probably $3 or $4 as well. Another benefit of sponge filters is the surface agitation. Now, I discussed this more in depth in other videos, but what I mean basically is the bubbles will go to the surface of the tank, and in doing so, it will cause agitation on the top and allow the chemical exchange or the gas exchange to happen at the surface of the water so the fish can get oxygen in their water. Now, another benefit of sponge filters is it's very, very easy to use. You put it in the tank, attach it to the air pump, and there you have it. You let it go for however long you want before cleaning. Now, another benefit, there's many benefits to sponge filters, is the variety of sizes and shapes. So I already touched on this a little bit, but this can go into a 10-gallon tank, no problem. This can even go in a 10-gallon tank and take up about half the tank, but it's doable. There's different shapes, like there's triangle shapes to fit in a corner, many different things and ways you could be creative with it to hide it from view. Now, the last benefit that I'm going to talk about is it's great for fry tanks. It's very a subtle form of filtration, meaning it doesn't cause too much water movement throughout the tank, which is good for fry, and it also can't suck them up because this is obviously too small, the fry can't go in it. Now, to move on from the benefits, there's also many issues with sponge filters. The first one that I think is the biggest issue is the mechanical filtration. Although the biological filtration is great, but the mechanical filtration is, in my opinion, subpar compared to many other filters. And the reasoning of that is because it does a great job getting it, but if you don't clean it very often, the gunk will be on the outside, and that will limit the amount of water that can go through, so it'll limit the amount of waste that it can pick up. But also, when you try to clean it, it's difficult to take it out of the tank and clean the gunk off without a lot of the gunk falling off back into the tank. Another issue, kind of piggybacking off of that, is it's relatively annoying to clean because you have to take it out of the tank and fully wash it and all that. So that's just a pain to go into the tank once a week or once every 3 days or once every 2 weeks, however you do it. Another issue which can be resolved is it can look bad in a tank, but if you pick the right size, right color, there's different colors, or if you conceal it well, it's not going to look bad in the tank, obviously. And then another bad thing is it must have an air pump. So although this is $5, air pump could cost you $30, $40. The good thing though is you can use that air pump for multiple filters if you have more than one tank, and the air pumps will last for a very, very long time. I do, however, recommend investing in a better air pump than you think, because it'll last longer and it'll be able to adjust to settings that are more adequate for the fish you have at the moment. Another really important thing before I forget to mention is this. I forget what they're called, but basically it allows air to go this way but not back. And the reason this is very, very essential is because if the air pump for some reason shuts off, you have a power outage or whatever, the air pump breaks, if that happens, water will travel through the pipe and start siphoning out backwards. And it could literally siphon out the entire tank through the little tube over time. And obviously you don't want a lot of water all over your floor. So this is less than $1 that you could get online. I got a pack of like 50 of them for $5, and I'll never need to buy them again. So highly recommend that investment if you get a sponge filter. Now, I recommend using sponge filters not alone. I recommend using them as a complement to other filters. Meaning, if I have this sponge filter in my 60-gallon tank, I'll also want to hang on the back or canister filter as well, because this focuses on biological and the surface agitation, while the other filter will focus on mechanical. It's a great benefit to add to any tank, even if you already have good filtration. It's also a great backup because let's say a filter breaks on one of your tanks, yet you have this sitting in one of your tanks. You can move it to the other tank and it'll bring the bacteria, so the fish are in no jeopardy of getting injured or sick or dying in the tank where the filter fails. Now, I highly recommend not buying these filters in a fish store. The markup is absolutely ridiculous, even more so than most filters. But with these specifically, and all filters, all fish supplies in general, I would highly, highly, highly recommend buying them online. Places like eBay, Amazon. Just make sure you look at reviews, things that have been bought many times, and it's a lot cheaper, and you can get a better product, more suitable for your aquarium. And that's about it with sponge filters. If you have any questions, let me know. I think I answered most of them, but if not, I'd be happy to answer anything in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope it was helpful. Thank you.